I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and this is Sunday, the what I guess today's the uh, 4th of November. Yeah, okay, so I am still here where I've been for over a year and a half, and it's been rough. It hasn't been fun. And there's a different story told about me in all of this, and the Brits were the ones back when so much had happened years ago. I mean, it was unbelievable. Uh, and they said to me, they all lied. Well, this is what I had been telling. But you don't tell the Americans they all lied. But that's what's happened in this whole mess to my children, me. Now then, I came to Roanoke. I was put on the side of the road. I almost killed April Fool Day of 80, telling people about mind control, Tesla files, how you could cure an illness or create one. I told about programming people to shoot, like they shot Larry Flint while I was doing the book in Marietta, and he was shot in nearby Lawrenceville, about 40, 60 miles away, maybe. So this involves shooting of George Wallace, the governor of Alabama, but there's lists of there's been entertainers who were killed using mind control. And I'm not going to go into the rest of it. I've put it up here about my being kidnapped in age 2 and brought over here in 41 by Kennedy's. JFK helped in my kidnapping, bringing me over here and putting me in a pigsty. You don't call it a farm, it was a house of horrors where the two twins had been killed, Peggy and Carl, and they were born out of wedlock. And uh, Carl, they were a year older than me. So Carl was killed, the best I can find out about there was no autopsy or anything. He was just taken out and buried. He was killed about a month after he was born, and Peggy was killed about 1 to 2 weeks before I was brought there. And so I want to get to this. Roosevelt, and these are Jews, except for the Kennedy clan that I'm naming. They are top Illuminati Freemasons. And Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, my own Uncle George, illegal George the Sixth. They took out my dad, Edward the Eighth, who was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, Windsor. They took him down with character assassination. My God, had nothing to do with Wallace Simpson, the American spy. She married an imposter. I'm putting this up because there's a lot of nice people that's been on here and responded. There's also some that are so cruel. Any fool could go back over my videos, just a few of them where I have put up information, if you want to call that, the pictures. But the timeline and everything, I couldn't make it up. People could, if they cared to, there's plenty of, like working for Ron Ziegler, there's got to be records of that. And then my talking about the Bloomingdale, well, yeah, they get involved too. A lot of people were killed because of that. Bloomingdale tapes, but the Watergate hearings. I've put, and what Henry Kissinger did on the Watergate tapes, and what was going on in Atlanta, Georgia, and what Victor Gonzalez and some doctors had me there. So the very fact that supports what am I doing working for Ron Ziegler, and when the Hustler magazine endorsed me, and Larry Flint said I knew who was responsible for his shooting. So it was a program shooting. I'm not going to go any further than that because this is what I want to put up. I have been here since '86. I've gone to the Appalachian Trail. I lived at Full Heart Knob, and the cold and the freezing that you can't believe. My legs were almost frozen. And I went there because of they had me locked down. I couldn't get a place to stay. They'll tell a different story. They were told, the locals, to not help me, and they didn't. And I hate to quote Lovett or Lovell. Maybe there's a payback good for them. They owned a service station with the Virginia State Troopers, who I think most of them were nice people and were the good, you know, some of them weren't. It's almost like there were sides. But anyway, the state troopers' cars were parked behind his garage in Travel, where I'd have to go when I would go up to the Appalachian Trail and live and try to survive, freeze, starve. Anyway, his wife, bless her heart, I only saw her once, but he had coffee there and he had donuts at times, and he gave me some fuel, a little bit of fuel. And his wife, to try to start fire in my stove when I finally got a stove, camp stove. And his wife was there one day and she said everybody, and I never saw her again. She showed up that one time. And she said, everybody around here knows what's happening to you, what you've gone through, and they just don't want to get involved. So that's been the story ongoing. I've been told by people face to face, I don't care. I don't care what's been done to you or your kids or you. Anyway, this I have lived here since 86. Tried to on that trail when things would get so bad. I'm going to go ahead and put this up because I don't know. They're so powerful now because they have friends up in high places in Congress on the Intelligence Committee and Judicial that are former Virginia governors, and they know all about mind control and about my kidnapping and who I am. So, you know, I realize that I'm in bad shape. I've stayed here. I've been run back and forth. I'm allergic to chemicals. And the only ones I can afford, the motels, because I've been denied. When I got HUD, the same thing happened, and I've put it up. I'm allergic to chemicals, and I have an autoimmune disorder. And when I'm around toxic fumes in close quarters, and this has been deliberate to run me. They and that's what's happened here. And when I tried to leave and go back to Huntsville or Atlanta to find my children or to get away from here, the same thing would happen. I'd have to come back here. So I've always gone up to the trail when it got so bad, the fumes, and run from place motel to motel and pay for a month and stay a couple of days and come in and start bombing the apartment, the room next to me, and coming in after me then with their pesticide, me telling them not to come in. So I ended up leaving and tried to retrieve it, but did my money by walking way into Roanoke and the hot sun back then. So this is just a part of it. I've been gone to these motels that are owned by the same two people on them. And everybody knows about it. All your media know all of it. I'm not talking about just the local, the network, the Illuminati, just what Donald Trump said they're controlled. They're not, well, I don't know who's your friend because people know about me and all this and they don't care about me. So, you know, but the Illuminati press is controlled, obviously. Now then, I wanted to put up here, and if you're listening to me cough, clear my throat, where I've had to stand, I've taken pictures. So there's pictures somewhere up on my social media throughout it. And I turned some of the videos of how bad it was when I was at Scott Hill out in Clifton Forge 3 years ago. And since then, they've got new air conditioning units because I turned it over to the management company. I think Mower was it on their, not their management anymore, but anyway, they all got new air conditioning, but it was horrifying. It was black mold and everything. Now, what I want to get to, I've run back and forth, and I had scabies from one place. I had bed bugs from more than one place, and I would have the air conditioning or carpet. You can do any so many ways to sabotage if you're told to, and that can make me sick. Using your air conditioning unit, and I've actually had them at one place, Affordable Corporate Suites off Starkey Road, where the housekeeping would actually, when I walked out of the room, they'd come in and I couldn't even go out for a walk. They'd soak my bedding with chemicals, come in and do it. And I'd be so sick I'd have to go and try to wash, and I didn't have the money. Now I can't. The inflammation's so bad it's affected my heart, and I don't know the other parts of my body. I've got a spot up here that needs removed that could become cancerous. But anyway, I'm just going to go to this. I even had a cab driver the other day say she knew about everything about me, well, about what I'm telling here, and about me having scabies, and I didn't get them. I was in a place over there owned by all these same people, and now they hate me for telling the truth, but there's records of it, medical records, and pictures, but I can't get an attorney to represent me. So she made the statement, and I had to wonder why she made it. About she had a woman that had scabies that was in the cab with her out in not Fincastle. Well, anyway, outlying small town, and the woman was, I guess, an elderly woman, and from the way it sounded, and she told the woman that she had to get out of her cab. She wasn't going to have anybody with scabies in there. I'm sure she would say she hasn't said that, but she did. I thought, why are you telling me this? You know that I had them back then, a few years ago, at the place I lived. So I'm not going to go any further. Are you telling me that I should get out of your cab? Because I don't have them now. I went through hell and got rid of what few things I had. And now then, that's going to happen again, unless somebody comes and locks me up, because they're that powerful. I will say I stayed here, and it was the better of the rest of it. And I stayed, and about a year and a half now. So now I know I'm going to have to leave. I'm so sick. I moved every place I go. They come in, and it's the maintenance are the ones that the law enforcement get to them, and they can, or either you can get all kinds of things on them, like a motel. You can get codes that are violated. Your kid could have a drug or driving charge, and people will go along with the law enforcement if they think there's no repercussions and they can help their own children or themselves or whatever. Everybody's got something to hide. So I want to close this here because I'm in such bad shape again. I got bacterial pneumonia. I got a bacterial virus, was what they said, and then I was told it was pneumonia later, bacterial pneumonia. So it was bad, and my ear ruptured, and I've had hearing loss ever since. And that's been a while. That was back in this January, 1st January. And now that I've been moved from room to room like I had before, just to meet myself coming back, because they did the same thing to me. And the horror story is telling all this and having people how they react to me, and they don't care. It's simply, it is not that they don't believe it. They keep their jobs until you put them up before a court of law and under the threat of lying, and they have to pay for it, lying in court, then, nobody's going to do anything about it if they do then. So I know I'm going to have to leave now. A few weeks ago, and I really can't, but a few weeks, a month and a half ago, some people off of YouTube got together and sent me a few things, and I was very thankful for them. I had some shoes finally that were nice. I had some food that they ordered and sent here, canned food and other that was very nice I hadn't had. I usually eat a breakfast here, and this morning I didn't. And I will say this, I walked up this morning to get some toilet tissue, And this woman was in front of me, and she was telling the person behind the desk how nice that this hotel was. Well, that's their experience. They're not me. And people will argue with you if you tell anything. Too bad they didn't go take the front off of their heating, air conditioning unit and see what's behind it, because I know I'm put in certain rooms. When it gets so bad in one and I try to stay, I don't have the money to move and I can't go to the mountain anymore. So you get the gist. So this morning she was saying that how nice it was in front of me, and I thought, well, as long as you're okay and everybody else is okay, or they think they are, well, they don't want to hear anything about me. They'll call me a liar. So I'm tired. I'm old, and I'm back in the room that I had to. I stayed in the other one as long as I could. So now then, these people gave me a few things, but it's hard for me to pull, and to move, and I don't have any, place to go right at the moment. And I can just see a cab driver complaining they're not going to take my stuff. They're not, if I found a place. So I'll end up, what they gave me, a lot of it I'll have to lose. And I didn't have any clothes then. I do have a few now that they've, sent me. But I'm going to go back to this January, and the ear virus, bacterial. And I lost part of my hearing, and a good bit of it. And I'm back in this room now. And I've been here 3 nights, and the first night I was here, it was horrible. And yesterday, some things happened, and I'm not going to mention it. It's about as bad as you can get. So a gentleman off of YouTube sent me an Oric that years ago I managed to buy one, and of course you can't carry them around. They're a little heavy, and you can't carry them to the forest, although I did back then. They were the one thing that could kind of knock out the fumes that have been deliberately put in here to run me. And I quote Carl Barton, a Virginia state trooper, that said his wife said that to me when some things happened back in 2009. So this is how we run you with chemicals, using my environment and my illness that really go on to kill me is what it happens. But I appreciate him saying that, because I tell it, but it hasn't done any good. I was afraid I'd get him in trouble because he's one of the good state troopers in law enforcement. But this is the people that do it. They keep their jobs, like I'm shut down on social services, and it's a horror story. And now that I'm back here in this one, and I've got the Oric, and it should help, but instead, it's so bad. This morning through the night when I woke up, I had such congestion in my chest. I hope it's getting a little bit better now. But anyway, I wanted to put this up because you can't see the air conditioning, the heating system, and the mold and mildew. And I thought, this woman is standing there, and they would swear that I must be lying, because people don't care that I'm British. My mom was an American, so hey, and all this has been done to me, so long as they're comfortable. And I know there's something else that, the person at the desk said to me, it was like telling me I'm going to have to leave. This is back a few weeks ago when I paid the weekly rent. Said, well, you go, this is how they would tell it, unless you get it into court and they can't deny it anymore because it gets to be too much. But that's the trouble. Said, well, you